Summary of Storm of Steel by Ernst Jünger. A young German man named Ernst Junger comes to Bazencourt, Champagne, France in December 1914, a few months after the start of World War I, to train as a soldier. Like his training partners, he is eager for danger and ready to show what he can do in battle. But on his first morning on the front lines, there is an explosion that kills several people nearby. He realizes that death will follow him throughout the war. After he gets used to being a sentry in the trenches, he finds that the war has stopped. The boring dirty work and lack of excitement have let all the men down. Junger is sent to a remote village for officer training after being relieved of trench duty. It is there that he makes friends that will last a lifetime. For the first time, Junger fights in battle in April 1915, when his battalion is sent back to the front lines near Hattonchâtel, France. Junger gets his first wound in the war when he is taking over French trenches and is hit in the leg with shrapnel. Still, he is horrified by the much worse suffering he sees other people go through. He is sent to Germany for a short time to get better, where he thinks about how, contrary to what he thought, war is not just an adventure. After he gets better, Junger gets more training and is promoted to ensign. As an ensign, his job is to lead small groups of soldiers across rough terrain. He goes back to his regiment in Douchy, France, in September. Around nearby Monchy is the front line. Junger gets his first real taste of life in the trenches here, in the area called C Sector. Even though it's often boring, it starts to feel like home when the scary shellfire and hard work of maintaining the trenches are mixed with warm friendships. During this time, he is made a lieutenant. This period of relative calm doesn't last long. By the spring of 1916, the Battle of the Somme, a major offensive on the Western Front, is just around the corner. As the artillery fire gets stronger, Junger survives his first gas attacks and a British attempt to take over C Sector. Junger's platoon is sent to the front line outside of Comles, close to the middle of the Somme, at the end of August. Junger lives through heavy artillery fire, but is hospitalized for a short time after being hit by shrapnel. Junger is put in charge of scouting when he gets back to the front. He is shot in both legs on his second scouting mission. He is sad that he has to stay in the hospital and miss the successful attack by his regiment at Stepiervost. He gets an Iron Cross after going back to his regiment. Junger is sent to an observation post in the village of Fresnoy for a short time in the spring of 1917. He then goes back to the front line. He beats a much bigger group, the 1st Haryana Lancers from India, with only 20 men and gets praise for it. After that, the regiment goes to the countryside in Flanders. Junger is told that his brother Fritz, a new recruit, went missing last night while the counterattack is still going on. Later, Junger finds out that his brother is hurt nearby and makes plans for Fritz to leave while heavy fire is going off. He also leads a small group of soldiers who are trying to stop the British from moving forward. After that, Junger leads an unsuccessful attack on a French trench outside of Regnyville. For his bravery, he is given another Iron Cross. Next, Junger works as an intelligence officer in the village of Rousselara in Flanders. He goes on dangerous reconnaissance trips through the countryside that is full of shell holes. Back on the front lines, a brave attack on the British forces captures 200 people, which is an improvement over the old way of fighting in the trenches. In March 1918, Junger is leading his men to the front lines when they are directly hit by shelling. Junger is heartbroken to lose several dear friends in such horrible conditions. But the losses make him even more eager for the next offensive against the British. But soon after jumping into the enemy trench, a desperate British soldier shows Junger a picture of his family, and Junger lets him go out of kindness. After hours of brutal fighting, the Germans are able to push back the British to a certain extent, and Junger comes back strong even though he has wounds to his chest and head. But while he is getting better in the hospital, he starts to understand that Germany is losing the war. In the summer of 1918, Junger sees that tanks, airplanes, and other mechanized weapons are being used more and more. He loses more and more of his strong desire to fight as his sense of purpose fades. Junger's last attack takes place in the village of Favruel on August 23. He is shot in the lung soon after the attack starts, just as the British take over the village. Jünger is sent to Germany for medical treatment. While he heals, he remembers his many wounds, at least 14 in total, with 20 scars, and spends time with his brother Fritz. He gets a telegram while he is still in the hospital telling him that the Kaiser has given him the Pour le Mérite, which is one of the highest military honors in the Kingdom of Prussia.
About the author. Ernst Jünger was born in Heidelberg as the eldest of 6 children. Ernst had a good childhood. He went to boarding schools, wrote poetry, and joined the Wandervogel movement, a group of young people who opposed industrialization by encouraging them to spend time in nature. Ernst joined the German army the next year, on August 1, 1914, and was sent to the front lines at Champagne. During the war, Ernst stood out both in battle and as a leader. He got many battle wounds and many awards, including the Pour le Mérite, which was the German Empire's highest military honor. He also wrote 16 volumes of diaries that were used to make Storm of Steel. He rose to fame as an entomologist after the war, married Greta von Jansen, and had 2 sons. Even though Jünger didn't like the Weimar Republic after World War II, he also turned down 2 offers of a Nazi seat in the Reichstag to join the growing Nazi Party. During World War II, he was a captain in the army, but his main job was to run things in Paris. After the war, his writings were banned because he was seen as a strong nationalist. But in the 1950s, his reputation was restored, and he became a major figure in West German literature. He wrote more than 50 books in his lifetime, including dystopian and science fiction novels. Jünger was an atheist for most of his life, but he became a Roman Catholic not long before he died at age 102.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.